All right, well, welcome everyone. Today we are talking about change. Welcome to Teacher Mark's chat room. Hello, LeBron. Hello, Dill. How are you? And hello, Rock. We'll wait a few minutes for people to arrive, and then we'll get started. Hello, Hero. Hello, let's see, Tanya, hello. Hello, Jonas and Gretel and Max and Luan. Hello, Evan. All right, so take a look at today's topic. Today's topic is change. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about these questions. The questions today are, the topic is change. The questions are, have you made any changes in your life recently? Do you think change is important? Is change easy or difficult? And what is one small change you want to make in your life? Now, you must remember that this is an English class, so that means that you must do your best to try to answer the questions using good English, proper English, all right? The best you can. If you can't, that's okay, but I want you to try, okay? So you have to try at the best of your ability. If the best of your ability still has some mistakes, that's okay. All right? Mistakes are not the enemy. All right? So take a look at the questions and think about your answers a little bit, and then we'll get started talking about the topic. What do you guys think about change? Any thoughts on change? Let's start with a basic question that's not on the list. Is change good or bad? Is change good or bad? Sebastian says both. Okay, so explain, Sebastian, why is change both good and bad? Why is it good? Why is it bad? Use your English. Come on, guys. Class has started. Let's go. Give me some answers. I asked you a question. Is change good or bad? Why? We will be on stage. After you write your answers here, I will choose someone to come on stage to talk about this. So, again, you have to remember that when you come to my class, you have to follow me. You don't just get to ask me questions randomly. If you want a teacher that you can ask questions to randomly, then you need to pay for a private teacher. But if you want free teaching, then you got to follow my teaching. Okay, so today we're talking about this. All right, so if you have questions about grammar or vocabulary or other things, you're gonna have to wait until that stream. Okay, but today we're talking about change. We're talking about the concept of change. Okay, so again, I'm asking you a question. Hello. Is change good or bad? There we go, Hero, finally. Thank you, Hero. Change is good. Nothing stays in the same place unless it's alive. Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting way to put it. Yeah, Hero, I like to put it a little bit differently. I like to say that there is only one constant in life, and the only constant in life is change. It's the paradox of change. Change is the only thing that's constant. Everything else does change. Change does not change. Change remains. So, Sohib says change to go to best sides, of course, good. So you think change that helps you is good. Raham says, I didn't change anything recently. Changes can be good and bad depending on your mindset. Changes are really difficult but need self-discipline. Okay, those are pretty good answers, Raham. Those are pretty good answers. But you need to work on your punctuation, your periods and your commas and things like that. You would have a perfect answer if you used your periods and commas. Okay, remember, we're in English class, so you gotta try to use the best English that you have. Okay? Hello, Flavia. Flavia says, I think that change is okay if you're an open-minded to receiving it. So you could say, I think change is okay if you are open-minded to it or to receiving it when it comes. Change might be bad because it does not always go our way, right? Okay. Change is exciting, so it's good to have, Hero says. Bad changes can also be a motivation to change, to be better. That's right. Good. Yeah. Flavia, the word change has a couple of meanings. One meaning of change is to change something. To make it different is to change something, right? Things change over time. But change is also a word that means, let me give you your change. When you buy something, oh, this cost $9.50, but you gave me $10. So I'm going to give you 50 cents change back. Let me give you your change means let me give you the remainder of your money. Okay, whatever you paid for an item, if there's extra, if you gave more than you needed, then that's your change. Okay? But no, it's not the same as tip. It's not the same as tip. Tip is the money you give to a waiter or worker for service. The word tip, a long time ago, many people used to believe that the word tip, that it actually meant TIP, to ensure promptness. To ensure promptness. But it's a good story, but it's not true. But it's a good way to remember what a tip is. A tip is that you're giving money to someone to reward them for their promptness, to reward them for being attentive and paying attention to you while you eat and everything that you needed, right? Changing bad habits is absolutely good if you can be better. That's true. So you can say, keep the change. That's right. Keep the change means I don't need you to give me my money back. Maybe it's just a small amount, or maybe you want to reward them. You want to give them a tip. So when you say keep the change becomes a tip. Okay? Hello, Ornella. How are you? Change is an essential part for us if we dream big. That's better. See, now this is what I'm looking for. I want you to use your English to talk about change, right? Use your English to talk about change and express yourself. That's what we're here for today. Use English to express yourself with these ideas, okay? To ensure, no, not to ensure paying, to ensure promptness, Sham. Promptness. That's the word, that's what they used to believe tip meant, TIP, to ensure promptness. But it's not true. It's a good story, but it's not true. Change requires courage, Nora says. Change depends on the situation. Change the financial situation, places, people, clothes. That's right. There are many kinds of change. There are many kinds of change. Saeed says, I have made a change that is going in the wrong direction. Well, Saeed, you can always turn around. It's easy to start making changes, but the hard part is to keep them up for a long time. That's true. That's true. But you have to remember, again, Zhang, the nature of change is that it should change. So maybe you need to change some things about yourself. And you said you should keep them up for a long time, but maybe you don't need to keep them up for a long time because maybe things change again. Right? So the concept of change is one that requires constant calculation. Constant calculation. Meaning you have to consider, is it good or bad? Change and tradition, both of these things require constant calculation. Is this still good or not? Is this benefiting me or not? Change and tradition. They're both kind of opposites in a way. Right? Traditions don't change. And change is that's the nature of change. Right? So changes can't really have traditions. Change means to be successful or fail in the attempt. Sometimes, maybe. Change, otherwise change changes you. That's right. The rock that doesn't move may still be moved. You know, there are rocks that move that don't move on their own will. Other things move them. Wind, rain, erosion, earthquakes, all kinds of things can move things beyond your will. So that's true. Even if you don't want change, sometimes change changes you. Hello, Ruby. Change your mind, your hairstyle habit. Actually, I do. I think that's a really good thing to do. I do it often. Changing your hairstyle. I think changing your hairstyle is a good thing because it reminds you that you are different. It reminds you that change happens. It helps you deal with different views of yourself, right? Um, you can't only think of yourself as good when you look good. You have to be able to think of yourself as good even when you don't look good. And you have to remember that looking good doesn't mean everything, right? So sometimes changing your hair or doing something different with your hair or whatever is a good way to just give yourself a basic way to change that um, will benefit you ultimately. Um, you're welcome, Sham. We need constructive change, not destructive change. Yes, Ruby. However, sometimes to build a new building, you have to destroy the old one. You know, sometimes change does require destruction. Not often, but occasionally. You know, um, Ruby, they have another saying. Sometimes they say, you must empty your cup before you can fill it. And this is it's a Zen Buddhist saying that means that if you want to learn something, then you must unlearn whatever you've learned before. You have to get rid of any previous notions or thoughts or ideas that you had before. So, um, getting rid of that is kind of like destroying it, right? Removing it completely so that you're not thinking about that anymore, so that you can take on a new perspective. Let's see. Jan says change is necessary for growing up and becoming stronger. That's true. Hello, Diego. Thank you. Thank you for the gifts, everyone. Change is consistency. Well, there's an interesting answer. That's a paradox, but kind of. Yeah. Some things like religion and tradition should be kept apart from change because a rolling stone never gathers space. Well, it's the phrase is a rolling stone never gathers moss. But even religions are subject to change, and every one of them has. There is not one religion that has not changed over time. All of them have. Because it's unavoidable. It's unavoidable. Ornella says change implies the ability to adapt yourself, your attitude, your mindset, and your habits to different situations and according to people around you. Ornella, that assumes that change is about you. But change is not always about you. Changes happen all around you that you have to adapt to, but they're not about you, right? So, change has a couple of different ways to look at it. There are the changes that you make to yourself, and there are the changes that happen around you, right? There are a couple different ways to look at change. There's how can I change myself? And then there's how is the world changing around me? Okay, and both of these are very important. You have to pay attention to how the world is changing around you so that you know how to change with it. That's what we call evolution. Ultimately, that is evolution. Change happens, we adapt. Change happens, we adapt. That's evolution. I think changes are related to the environment you live in. You can't change for the better if you're in a negative environment. That's not true, Raham. I will say that, yes, you're right. Changes are related to the environment you live in. But that doesn't mean you cannot change for the better if you're in a negative environment. No, that's what great stories are all about. People who changed for the better in a negative environment. For hundreds and thousands of years, we've been writing stories about heroes. And what is a hero? A hero is often someone who does something positive when they're in a negative environment or negative situation. So you are right that the environment you live in does affect you, and it can affect your perspective, and it can affect your sense of agency. That means your sense of ability to change things, right? To have agency means that I am able to affect the world. If you feel you have no agency, that means that no matter what you do, nothing changes. You have no effect on the world, right? So, I think that we often face difficult situations in negative environments, and that's when it's the most important to be able to channel a positive sense of change. To change is to challenge your older version. Good, yes. People are affected by the environment. The best way to change a person is to change the living environment and a major life event to change. That's true sometimes, LeBron. Sometimes. You're right that you can choose to move to a new country, and that will be a tremendous change that will affect you drastically. But you can actually also make a small change in your life that will affect you drastically. So, for example, you could have maybe you make a change in your life and you say, I'm going to go to bed earlier, get more sleep. I'm going to read more. I'm going to pay more attention to my family. These are small changes that you can make that lead to big changes. If you read more, you will know more. If you know more, you have more opportunities. If you sleep more, you'll feel better. Your health will be better. You'll be able to approach every challenge better, right? If you have better contact with your family, that's a better environment for you. So it's good for you, right? Ornella says, but sometimes you don't have to change it all just to please others. Ornella, you should never necessarily have to change for others. It's complicated. Change can be something that feels like someone is asking you to not be you. And that's not okay. But on the other hand, again, there's the adaptation feature of change, which means that sometimes you will change not to please others necessarily, but it's almost like the way a chameleon will change its colors when it's in a new environment. Right? It's not doing it to please others, it's doing it to fit in more. It's a safety mechanism. So, when you're in a new environment and you don't know people, we often change the way we are to try to please others, but that's a safety environment. That's a safety mechanism, like a chameleon changing colors. As long as it's not permanent, it's okay. If your colors don't change back, that's a problem. But we often change colors for different environments, Ornella. When you're speaking to your family, you speak one way. When you're speaking to your children, you speak another way. When you speak to strangers or business people, you speak a different way, right? So we speak differently to different people. That's because we change the way we are, depending on who we talk to and where we are, right? Do we change because we want to or because we are forced by society and family? Both. Changes happen for a multitude of reasons. How can we know something is a good change so we won't regret? Um, I'll tell you how, Nagam, because no one gets through life without regrets. No one gets through life without regrets. Everyone has regrets. So if you have to have them, then you should choose how you have them. So that means that if you have a choice of saying, am I going to try to do it or am I not going to try to do it? You should try to do it. And I'll tell you why. Because if you try and fail, then you have that. You tried. If you never tried, then you don't know if you failed or succeeded. So you got nowhere. If you fail, you learn and grow. If you never try, you never learn. Okay? So what I would say is, even if you make a change that you feel is a mistake, that's okay. That's how we grow. If you don't make mistakes, you don't grow. Okay? Think of mistakes almost like gravity. It's the pressure that's pushing down on everyone. And you can't avoid it. Let's see. Change means resilience and adaptation. Good. The way to growth is always painful. That's true, usually, yeah. Let's see. If I change my outdated habits of mind, I'll be able to make something new. That's true, yeah. Thank you, Donald. Who's my favorite hero? I don't really have one, Kim. Ruby, I understand how you feel. I understand what you feel, but it's just not true. Okay? If you study your own religion, you will see it has changed. It has. It's unavoidable. The respect that you give to it is one thing, and that's fine. That's good. But if it's all powerful, then you disrespect it by saying it can't change. Because if it's all powerful, then it can. Right? So, what you choose to do religiously is up to you. But every system, every value system, every religious system, every political system, every human system that has ever been created on this planet has changed over time. Every single system made by any humans has changed. And it will continue to. Because it must. Because that's life. Life changes and everything within it changes too. Change is chance. It's morphin' time. I like that hero. Yeah. Okay. Hi. How many of you are new? Are you new? If you're new, say I'm new. This is my favorite part always of my stream. Every time there's somebody who suggests me, like, you should do this or you should do that, that's how I know you're new. Listen. Hi, my name is Teacher Mark. I'm a real teacher. This is my job. I know how to do it, so don't tell me how to do it. I have 82,000 followers here on Hello Talk. They follow me because I teach English. But you must pay attention to what I am doing. You must pay attention to what I am doing. Okay? If you want to learn, you can. But you don't get to dictate how. All right? Now, do I use any articles? Sometimes, yes, I do. Today, I am using this. This is what we are talking about today. We are talking about change. So let's move to our first question. Here's our first question for today. Have you made any changes in your life recently? Have you made any changes in your life recently? Answer the question using your best English. Have you made any changes in your life recently? Answer the question in the chat using your best English. And then I'll bring somebody up to answer the question on stage. Rack says, for me, the word change, even from myself or something around me, has changed. I've noticed even subtle changes if they're important. Okay, right. So everything changes. Like I said, yeah, you don't always pay attention, but it does. I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples. That's right. Yeah. Although, Ornella, I don't know if you've read much about Mother Teresa, but when I was a boy, we talked about Mother Teresa like she was like, a saint, right? But then I read more about her later in life, and she was not quite the saint that we thought she was. There was a lot of things about her that were a bit dark and not good. So not that doesn't mean that her words have no meaning. Her words are still good words, right? The words she said are true. You can have great change by creating small changes in your own environment, right? Small changes in your environment can affect the world greatly. Hello, Belen. You have to change your body composition from being chubby to more muscular. Me too. Me too, hero. Okay, so Flavia's change has been she's been going to college to learn English. Yeah. Yeah, Ornella, if you read about what she did in India, if you read about, yeah, there's some, if you just type in the dark side of Mother Teresa, and I'm sure there'll be many websites that come up that talk about it. She was she had a weird, almost like a mental disorder in a way. I almost feel like she created this persona of helping people, and then she created a system that required people that needed help. So basically, in a way, she created the how do I say this? Rather than doing what would really benefit the people, she did what would benefit herself so that she had people to help. It's it's hard to explain, but yeah. Anyway, look it up. Look it up. Okay, so change is very cruel sometimes. That's true. Yeah, it can be. I have some changes recently, but I can't say made the changes, just happened. Well, sometimes that's the way it happens. Sometimes changes happen around you. Betsy says maybe no, but I would like to make some good changes. Okay, good. Yes, Mother Teresa of Calcutta. That's right. I'm trying to change from fixed mindset to growth mindset. Okay, good. Yeah. Nora says, I improved my English and learned Spanish, and I'm learning Turkish. Almost everything I tried. I changed people around me. I stay alone. I'm like, okay. So, Nora, those are good things. Learning is one of the best ways to change. I think learning is one of the most fantastic ways to change. When you learn, you are changing the way you see the world. New information can change everything. A new perspective can give you an entirely new world. Yeah, so Learning is one of the best ways that you can change. And it's one of the most important ways. When you stop learning, you stop changing. And that's never a good thing. Okay, would someone like to come on stage and tell me about the change they've made in their life recently? Anyone? How? There's Mindy. She's back. Let's talk to Mindy.
Hi.
Hello, Mindy. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good too. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been, I don't know, a few weeks,
Where have you
a couple
been?
months. I've been here. I've been here, just not often, not as often. That's all.
Yeah,
I was doing
because
too
I
much.
haven't seen you for a long time. So
Uh,
I'm waiting for your live stream. So I'm waiting for your live stream, but I haven't seen you for a long time. So that's why.
well, you know what? There could be a problem because HelloTalk they do have a problem where many people are not getting notifications for streams. So maybe you didn't get notifications because I've had many, many streams.
Oh,
Yeah, so
really?
you should message HelloTalk and tell them, just send them a message on the HelloTalk team and say, "Hey, I'm not getting notifications for Teacher Mark's live streams." They are working on this problem. They thought they fixed it, but I don't think they did fix it. So everybody in the audience, if you did not get a notification for today's stream, if you don't get notifications for my streams, then you should tell HelloTalk. It's a big problem that if I do a stream and you don't get the notification, you miss it, right? So yeah, so if you're not getting notifications, please tell HelloTalk, okay, everybody? So, Mindy, tell me about change. What have you been changing recently? Anything?
Um, Maybe I change my routine. I
You
think
changed your routine? Okay.
basically I change my routine. So I'm trying to sleep early. So I just cut. I don't cook anymore. I don't cook anymore.
You
So
don't
before,
cook anymore.
yeah, but I think like 2 weeks. So I haven't been trying to my new routine for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So before I after work, going home, I try to cook my dinner,
Mm-hmm.
and also prepare for my lunch box
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it takes me so much time. I don't have some time for like do exercise, workout, and also learning something new, like learning languages, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
just read something or do anything like entertain me, just
Yeah, yeah,
relax. I don't
yeah.
have any time for that. So because always like eat dinner, cook dinner, eat dinner, and also prepare for my lunch bar. Take me around, and I take a shower and also finish at 10 p.m. So I don't have any time. But if I 10 p.m. after that, I will read like with my phone. It takes me like 1 or 2 hours. I will sleep really late, like midnight or 1 hour, and I
Yeah,
cannot
I understand.
be productive for tomorrow. So
Okay,
that's why.
so I understand that. However, I want to make a suggestion to you. Um, People in America have this problem a lot. Um, Sometimes in
No.
America, the economy is not so good now, and many people they have not one job, they have two jobs or three jobs or even four jobs. And yeah, they don't have time. That's why we have so much fast food here.
Understand that
You
makes
know?
sense.
Yeah, that's why we have so much fast food because it's the same thing. Nobody has time. And going to the grocery store and buying everything and preparing it and cooking it, it takes time, a lot of time, especially if you want to cook well. But many, many people, including myself, what we do is we do food prep at the beginning of the week, right? So instead
Yeah.
of preparing for just one day, we prepare the food for the whole week. right? And that's why we have to have a freezer. We need a freezer. We freeze things, right? So um, whenever I cook now, I always try to make more than enough for the one meal. I make enough for 2 meals or 3 meals. And then we eat it, and then after it's finished, we'll pack it up and put it in the refrigerator. And now we have food for the next few days that's in the refrigerator, right? So last night I made, yesterday was Father's Day, and I made a bunch of grilled kebabs on the grill, like salmon and vegetables all grilled. And I made a lot, so now we have food for today, and I don't have to cook today.
And
Yeah,
you have the meal is different. Like 3 meals a day is different, and the meal of today is different from the meal of tomorrow. So you
that's true.
prepare all of that.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's right. Yeah, so I will prepare a few different things, or I try to think of simple meals that I can make quickly, right? Like, um, so I often make like soups. I love to make soups, and then we make a lot, and we freeze them in containers just like this one. We get containers just like this one, and we freeze it, right? So every time we order food in America, we go to the Chinese restaurant, we order food, they give us these, and then we keep them. And then when I have them, then I make soup and I put them in here and we freeze them. So I have a few soups in my freezer right now that I could pull out, and then I have a meal ready to go. Um, so what I would say is Americans are pretty good at this one thing, which is many of us we prepare our food at the beginning of the week, and we try to prepare as much as we can, um, because we have to feed a whole family, and it's a lot, and it's too much time and work to cook all the time, you know. So yeah, I would highly suggest that you start thinking about maybe this. Try one weekend. Try one weekend to just like have one day where you cook everything in one day and just put it in the freezer, and now you have a bunch of food ready.
so now I have to think of the menu for the whole week
Well,
because
yeah,
I
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right. But that's right. It's like preparation to prepare ahead of time so that you don't have to think of it later, right? But
yeah.
what you can do is you can sit down and make one list of all the foods you like, right? Everything you like. And then when you want to choose what you need, you can like look, I have one right here. This is like a list of like some things I cook, right? So I was trying to just make a list of things that I know how to cook, right? So now when I want to make dinner, I can just look through my list and say, well, that sounds good tonight. Let me make that, you know? Or I can just choose and I can say, I'm going to make this, this, and this weekend, and that's my food for the week, right? So, yeah, food prep is pretty
One
important.
more concern. One more the real fact is I love my food that I can cook because I cook so well and I love
Hmm.
my food. So that's why I eat a lot and eat a lot.
Hmm.
It can make me fat and I have no exercise.
Well,
Yes.
yes, that's true, but I'm the same way. I love to cook and I love to eat my food because it's always delicious when I do. And yeah, you can get fat, but the food that I make for myself is always healthier than whatever they make at the restaurants. You
So
know,
you
like
can control the how you
right, yeah, the
seasoning
takeout
and
food that you get, that's going to be much worse. It's going to be much more oily, greasy, fatty, more calories, you know. So at least I can eat and eat too much, but at least it's delicious, good, healthy food, you know.
mm,
Yeah, so last night, I mean, I couldn't stop eating this salmon. It was so yummy. But it's good salmon, you know? Like that's yummy food. That's healthy, you know? So cooking, I think, is really important, to be honest with you. It's so important for good food, good health, and not just that, but I think it's important to understand how food works. Where does your food come from? And how is it made? You know, why does it taste good,
agree.
or why does it taste bad? You know,
It's a
um,
good concern. Right now in Vietnam, I don't think you have money and still have like organic food. I don't think that.
hmm.
You don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
Me too. I don't know.
It's
Even you
probably like Taiwan, where
travel
when I
to
lived in
the
Taiwan,
park.
when I lived in Taiwan, it was so funny. When I had to find an apartment, I was looking for an apartment, and I wanted it's just a one bedroom small apartment, right? Well, but I love cooking. Well, guess what? Almost all the one bedroom apartments there have no kitchen.
Oh, they don't have like
No.
studio or something? No?
In the studio, they have no kitchen whatsoever. Maybe you have a sink, maybe you have a small sink, and maybe they give you like a portable burner, right?
Mm.
For like soup or something like that, right? But you get no kitchen in most of them. And the reason why is because they have so much cheap fast food that's yummy and it's all over the place. So you don't even need to cook. You can just go buy whatever you need quickly right around the corner. It's easy and cheap to just buy takeout. But I really wanted a kitchen, so I had to find one. and it was a small kitchen. It was very small, but it was great. Um, but yeah, a lot of people they just buy their takeout food, and then you don't know really what you're getting. And
Mm.
also sitting down to eat, that's important time. Like let's put it this way. Think about when you eat food. If you just go like this, compared to like eating it and tasting it and savoring it and thinking about what's it made from and oh that's yummy and enjoying it, right? Taking your time to enjoy it, right? So if we know that it's bad to just shovel food in your mouth, then it's like spiritual. There's a certain almost like a spiritual way of saying like enjoy the food. Don't just shovel it into your face. Like appreciate it. It is life. Without that food, you do not live. So you should appreciate it. And sometimes the flavors are important to us. They make us feel better, right? Everybody in this world has one food that if they eat that food, they feel better.
Yeah, it comfort food.
Yeah, right? Comfort food. That's right. So food is like medicine. Food is
Yeah.
like medicine. And in Chinese tradition, Chinese medicine, that's what it is mostly food. Like when Asian medicines are mostly foods. They say you need to eat more of this and you need to eat more of this because that is medicine. So if food is medicine, then you should think about the medicines that you're eating, right? When you go to McDonald's, that's not good medicine.
But it's really trendy nowadays. The people they eat to heal their bodies. You know, now
Yeah.
it's so trendy right now. They can eat like
Oh yeah.
fasting and also
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean
that.
that's been trendy for so long. Um, yeah, all over the world. Food is the first way that we dealt with medicine. So for example, the word prescription, um, a prescription, the word recipe. What is a recipe?
It's a formula to
A recipe is something that you use to cook something, right? I want to cook this soup, so I need this recipe. It's instructions, right? Well, guess what? The word recipe actually comes from, it means the instructions that the doctor gave you.
oh.
That's what recipes were. Recipes were
So it's
prescriptions.
the same meaning with the prescription, but
Yeah, that's
in
exactly
other
right.
term.
That's right, because prescription, pre means before and script means right. So prescription is the doctor says, here's what you should do before. You should take this medicine before you go to bed. You should take this, you should use this for whatever. That's what the doctor is telling you to take, right? Well, the same thing with a recipe. A recipe is a list of things that used to be medicine. They would say, you need to eat this, put these things together. That's medicine. So it's still medicine. Food is still medicine, but you don't think of it that way. And so sometimes you're eating bad medicine, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But But life is short, and sometimes things that taste good are just good. You know, like steak. Should you eat steak every day? No, you shouldn't eat steak every day. But am I going to eat it sometimes? Sure, because it's yummy. I'm not gonna. I'm not going to give it up completely, but I will try to be aware that it's not great medicine if I eat it too much. It's good medicine every once in a while, but too much steak is bad medicine. You know.
Yeah, I cannot digest it.
That's. Oh, you can't digest steak, no? Yeah.
No, if you eat too much,
Oh,
so
that's
maybe
true. Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Yeah. Although Americans eat a lot of meat. Yeah, we,
Mm-hmm.
especially where I live in the Midwest, we're meat eaters. We eat lots of meat. Yeah. But anyway,
Kind of healthy, right?
no, it's not healthy. It's bad for you.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I mean heavy.
Oh,
It
yeah,
has
very heavy.
to.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely heavy. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Mm.
So, but it's all about balance, right? So, 2 days ago, my nephew came here and he wanted pizza, so I made pizza, right? And I made this special kind of pizza that's called Chicago pizza. It's usually pizza is flat and big. Chicago pizza is not so wide, but it's very thick, like a pie. It's like very thick, like a pie. Here, like, wait, I'll show you some pictures. Hold on. Let me see if I can.
Oh, teacher, Mike, I think you can cook anything that they buy. They sell it. It's,
I can cook just about anything. I love cooking. I can cook just about anything. So let's see. Here is. Let me send some pictures to my account, and then I'll show you the pizza I made, and then I will show you the. One moment. There we go. Back. Then I will show you the Father's Day meal I made also, which was much healthier. So it's about balance, right? So we're talking about change, and we're talking about how it's important to, if you want to change your diet, that's okay, but just have balance, have balance in what you eat. Oh, wrong ones. Sorry.
so I eat like 5 days only. I will not eating for 1 day. This is kind of balance.
That's called fasting, right? To fast for a day? Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Um, what does breakfast mean? Breakfast. The word breakfast. What is it? The word breakfast. It has two words in it. Break, fast. Because that's what it is. when you eat breakfast, that's the first meal of your day, right? That means that the last time you ate was the day before. So that means you were breaking your fast. That's what breakfast is, right? And how long you fast is up to you. Some people fast for just a few hours, some people fast for longer, you know? Yeah.
Oh, now I understand. Breakfast is the food to break the fast.
That's right. Yeah, that's food that breaks your fast. That's exactly right. It's funny, everybody says the word breakfast, but nobody thinks about what it means. That's what it means. It means to break your fast.
Oh, so I stopped eating my breakfast for a long time, but now I understand. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's more confusing because the pronunciation of the word is breakfast. So it doesn't
Yeah.
sound like breakfast. It should
Yeah.
sound like breakfast.
No, it's right. It's the
Yeah,
same.
if you said breakfast, then people would know what it means, right? Somebody said, "What about lunch?" Lunch is a funny word. Lunch comes from two things. There was a word a long time ago called nunchin. Nunshin was a word that meant midday meal. It actually, the word means midday meat. Nunshin. And Nunshin became lunch. Luncheon, it actually became luncheon, then it became lunch, right? And the word dinner, actually also, dinner, let me show you, hold on. Dinner comes from the Roman word disunare. And what does disunare mean? It means to break your fast. So it's really funny because actually the word dinner and the word breakfast mean the same thing.
One meal of the day.
That's right. That's exactly right. Because we didn't always eat 3 meals. That's new. Only in modern times did we think about eating 3 meals. A long time ago, only rich people ate 3 meals a day. Most people would eat when they could eat. So maybe you eat once a day, maybe you eat twice a day. If you're lucky, you eat 3 meals a day, right? So the word dinner means to break your fast. The word breakfast means to break your fast. And the word lunch means just midday snack. That's what it means. Yeah, it's funny. And the word dessert. Dessert comes from French. It means to clear the table. So the word dessert actually is like the words, it comes from this. Let me show you. What did I just do? Let's try that again. Dessert equals dis plus serve. So dis means not, right? And serve, to serve, right? So dessert basically means to clear the table. It means to unserve things. So you served dinner, you put all the plates down and you served dinner. Now you're going to clear the table. That's to unserve. That's the word desservir, which, or no, I'm sorry, where is it? Let me find the right word. Desionare. Yeah, which again means to undo or clear the table, because now they can bring you the dessert. They cleared everything. Now they can bring you the small dessert. Yeah. The word supper. Do you guys know the word supper?
Yeah, I watched like old movie. They use suffer a lot. They use suffer a lot. They
Yeah.
fake
So,
suffer.
oh, no, not suffer. Supper.
Suffer.
Yeah.
Not
Suffer is different. Suffer means to have pain or something, right? But supper is a word that, it's another word that means like dinner. It's like an evening meal. And the word supper comes from the word sup. To sup. It's a verb that means to take bread and put it in your soup. Like when you do that, there's a word we have, to sop. Have you ever heard this word? To sop your bread means to take your bread and dip it in the soup so that you can eat it. That's called sopping your bread. And the word sop is related to the word soup. It's soup. That's what you're doing. You're putting your bread in the soup. So supper comes from the word soup. Because in the evening, what did they often eat? Soup with some bread. Yeah. So all of those words are funny. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, and supper, and dessert. They all have funny meanings. Yeah. Anyway, we got off topic a little bit, but that was fine. Excuse me. Yeah. So, Mindy, I'm going to let you go and try to finish up a couple more questions, but it's always good to see you. Always nice to talk with you. So thank you for coming up on my stage. And I'll see you next time.
Thank you for bringing.
Yeah. All right. Take care, Mindy. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Is there a meal between breakfast and lunch? There is. We call it brunch. And it's just a mixture of breakfast and lunch. Brunch. Yeah. Do we also say sop biscuits into the milk? Sop is a word that means anything that absorbs a lot of water or a lot of liquid is to sop. So, for example, Tomas, if you go out into the rain and it starts raining really hard and you become completely wet, we say, I'm sopping wet. I'm sopping wet. Means I'm completely drenched in, absorbed all the water from the rain, right? So to sop is used for anything that is like a dry thing that you use to absorb a lot of liquid. Okay? Sop it up. That's what we say. Okay, let's go back to the questions. Let's get to the second question. We didn't get to that yet. Let's do that. The second question for today is, do you think change is important? Do you think change is important? Yes, it's snacks, not snakes. Snay, that's snacks. That's something you eat. Although there are some places that eat snakes for snacks. Okay, so do you think change is important? Yes, I think change is important because teacher Mark, change is important because Huda says as long as it brings the best version of us. But how do you know, Huda? Sometimes the thing that brings the best version has to bring the worst version of you before it gets to the best version. It's always darkest before the dawn, you know? Changes are decisive, not only important. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Sometimes things change and you think it's bad, but then later you kind of find out it was good. Right? You think it's bad at the moment, but then later you figure out that it was actually not a bad thing. That's right. Everything is change. Everything is change. You don't have to turn on your camera. You can come on stage and turn off your camera. I would prefer to see you. I would prefer to see you. But that's okay if you are too shy. Well, no, I won't say it's okay if you're too shy. It's okay if it's a cultural thing, but I would just remind you, Mora, that if you're here to improve your English, part of improving your English is talking to people. Part of talking to people means feeling a little nervous about seeing someone, right? But that's important. You have to challenge yourself. So, if it's a cultural thing, that's fine. If it's a shyness thing, it's not. Got it? Ah, you're too shy. Mora, you can't be shy and learn a language. You just can't. There is no success in language if you're shy. So put your shyness away for now. You don't have to be shy all the time. You can take your shyness, put it in a box for a little while, and say, okay, I don't need my shyness right now. It's not helping me. Okay? If you want to do certain things in life, shyness is never going to help you. Like if you need to perform, you can't be shy. If you need to give a speech, you can't be shy. If you need to meet someone important that's new, you can't be shy, right? So part of what we're doing here is learning how to not be shy. All right?
Hello.
Hello, how are you, Mora?
Great. Thank you for the positive energy so I can keep it together so I can come here on the stage.
and
Actually, it's
and
my
and
first time.
I'm very happy to see you. It's so much better for me as a teacher when I can see a person and I can actually connect with them. It makes a huge difference. You know, hearing a voice is okay, it's nice, but when I can see a face, it feels so much better. It just feels so much nicer. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. And congratulations on being brave and understanding that that's what bravery and courage is. Courage and bravery does not mean that you are not afraid. It means you are afraid, but you act anyway. Right? So that's okay. You were brave. You acted anyway. You came on stage, even though you're shy and a little nervous, you still came on stage. So congratulations. You did it. And if you do it once, you can do it again.
Yeah, thanks to you.
Well, you're welcome. So let's talk about change. Do you think change is important, Mora?
Actually, I feel like not all changes are going to be good. Sometimes I'm afraid to take this step. Sometimes I like, for example, one time we moved to another apartment. We felt at the beginning that it's good for change,
Mm-hmm.
but it turned out to be like not good change. We
Okay.
regretted that. Yeah.
How is it not good?
Like it was hectic and the neighbors were not good to us, like it was not a good change at all.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. Your neighbors were not nice. So what did that make you do? Because your neighbors were not nice. How did that change you?
Actually, it makes me go out of my comfort zone, and I tried to text them, and I told them, "Can you please, like if they are noisy or something like that, I asked them gently if you can do that for me."
So
Um,
so
yeah,
that so what you just told me was that this change made you go out of your comfort zone to talk to someone. And
yes,
you're a shy person. So, even though this was a bad change, it still had some positive value. It forced you out of your comfort zone. So, change is one of those things that always has a perspective, right? You know, that's why we say you have to look for the silver lining in every cloud, right? So when you see clouds, we think, oh, it must be bad. It's clouds. But clouds sometimes have a silver lining, right? And you have to look for it. It might be there, but you're just not looking, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is that um, that move, maybe it was not that enjoyable, but maybe it was beneficial. Maybe
exactly.
it taught you something. Maybe you learned something more. Maybe you gained greater confidence to talk to someone. You know, maybe you learned something more about the neighborhood, or you learned something more about how to deal with people or how to not deal with people, right? So,
At the beginning, I feel like I'm the kind of person, I don't like conflict. I don't want to face the problem. I just want to skip it and escape out of it. Like, yeah,
yeah, right. So there
this is
you go. That's what I'm
everything.
saying.
Yeah.
Sometimes the things that we think are bad still do have some positive consequence for us, something that's good for us. That was good for you. It forced you to do something that you wouldn't normally do, and that was of positive value for you as a person. Right? So that's just good as I'm trying to show you that sometimes even the things that we think are not good, maybe you need to think more. You know, maybe there was something good about it. You know, so for example, um, I became a musician, a professional musician and a drummer, and I didn't go to school because I was just performing. Right? You didn't need to go to school for performing, and uh, and many people they said, oh well, that's not good. You didn't get your degree. You didn't get your degree, and you did that and whatever. Well, guess what? The reason why I'm a good English teacher today is because I was a musician before.
Wow.
All of my ideas about language learning come from music. So even the things that we think are bad sometimes are not. They may have value that you can't see yet. That
Yes.
later you'll see it. You know. So change is something that requires you to pay attention to it, but change is something that requires you to also consider it over time, how it affects you and what value it has, you know? So yes, you're right. Moving immediately had some bad changes because you had to deal with bad neighbors and this and that. But it forced you out of your comfort zone. It made you deal with people, made you think about people in a different way, which is growth. That's growth. So that's not bad, right? Yeah. So
That's
that's why change, I think, is one of those things that we need to remember that change might have difficulties, but even through difficulties, you might gain something. You
that's
know,
true. But you need to think deeply about it
you
so you
do.
can understand what's going on.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right. Yeah, you absolutely do. You have to think about it deeply. You know, like that's the funny thing about my mind is I wish I could think more shallowly. Like everything I do, I think on layers and levels, and I think about the psychological level and the sociological level and the philosophical level and the historical level. You know, I'm thinking on context, you know, on different levels, um, and sometimes I wish I could just you know forget about all that and just you know just have an ice cream you know like and not think about it on a deep level, you know, but I do like almost the even the most simple things. Sometimes my brain just doesn't shut up and always wants to analyze things on deep levels, but it's a good habit now. I'm in the habit of always looking at things from a different perspective as much as I can, at least.
I believe that makes you wise when you think deeply.
uh
Say that.
I think it makes me aware. I don't know if it makes me wise, because
I know.
wisdom implies that you always do the right thing. But sometimes, even when we know all the information, we still might make the wrong choices. Or I should say, we might make a choice that is less difficult. You know,
Yes.
um, so you know, because like I said, I always like to think about it like sometimes the choices you make, you think you're making bad choices or good choices, but it's not about bad and good. It's about growth or not growth.
Actually, that makes me having a cold feet every single time I'm going to choose something. I actually am afraid of taking any decision.
Okay,
Like,
so there's a famous band from Canada. They're called Rush, and they have a song, and part of the lyrics of the song says, "If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice."
okay, that's
Uh,
a positive way of it.
Yeah, it's really deep when you think about it. You're like, when you keep going back and forth to should I do this or should I do this or should I do this or should I do this, and then you say I don't want to do anything. I'm not going to make a choice. Well, guess what? That's a choice. When you choose not to decide, you made a choice. Right? It's like voting an election. If you vote for this guy or vote for this guy, that's a vote. But if you don't vote, you still made a choice. You know? So you think you're not choosing, but you are. Right? So that's why I think it's better to go ahead and just pick one, because you're making a choice one way or another. You may as well have an effect, have an actual directive in it, right? Where you're saying this is what I want to choose, right? So fear of choice is the funniest thing, because even when you have a fear of choosing something, you're still choosing.
That's new. It's new for me.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good one to think about. That it yeah. Whenever you have a choice to make and you're afraid to make one, just remember
Actually,
there
Mark,
is no
I
choice.
sorry to
No, go ahead.
interrupt.
Go ahead.
I admire the way that you are looking and your perspective to the stuff. Like you are kind of person looking into every difficulty with a solution. This is really positive. I
Well,
wish.
that's the nature of being a teacher.
Oh, okay. I believe I need to be a teacher.
Yeah, you know that's what being a teacher is you see a problem and you think about it until you figure out a way to explain it or solve it, you know,
Mhm.
or at least understand it a little bit more. That's all you can do, you know. And yeah, I think I've kind of naturally been that way forever. I don't if there's a problem, I have to think about it until I figure it out. Um, and I started teaching drums when I was 18 years old, and I loved that because all of a sudden I had all these people coming to me asking me questions, and they were questions I had never thought of before. So it was like, wow, this is cool. I want to. That's a problem I think I can solve. Let me think about it, and I'm gonna give them an answer tomorrow. Um, and so yeah, I love the idea of solving problems.
Yeah. Also, if any negativity, you turn it to be positive.
Again,
So
you have to when you're a teacher. You have to. Not every teacher does, but you should.
yes,
You know, everyone has had a negative teacher, and everyone knows how bad that is. Everyone knows that feeling is not a good feeling.
for experience, for more whole my life, bad
Yeah,
teacher.
right. Yeah, we always have, but teaching is about being a guide. And who wants to hire a negative guide? Right? If you have to go up the mountain and you want to see the mountain, you hire a guide, right? That's your teacher. But you want a guide who's positive and shows you the mountain in a positive way. You don't want a guide who's taking you up the mountain and they're negative the whole time, you know? And they're not encouraging you. It's climbing a mountain. It's hard. You're supposed to encourage them, you know? So anytime I have a student that gives an answer, whatever their answer is, I will very rarely say that's wrong. I will usually say something like, well, that's interesting, or that's good, but, or I like that. That's really interesting, but, and then I'll talk about it, right? So I always start with the positive. Always start with like, ooh, I really like that. Let's talk about that more. And then in talking about that, then I'll try to help them find what could be better. But learning is not supposed to be about telling somebody, ha ha, you don't know it, but I do. Like that's not what, but some teachers make you feel like that. They make you feel like they have the knowledge, but you're too stupid to understand. That's not a good teacher. A good teacher is supposed to help you find a way to understand. And if they can't, that's their problem, not yours. But often we put the problem on the student. We say that if the student doesn't understand, it's their problem. But it's very often not the student's problem. It's the teacher who doesn't do a good job of explaining.
True.
Yeah. Teaching is one of those things that we've lost respect for teachers in this world, but I think we've lost respect for teachers in this world for good reason. Because the truth is, there are not that many good teachers. If you go into any school, how many teachers in that school do you think are great? 2, 3, maybe? But it's definitely not all of them. Right? And that's a huge problem because teaching is not a job like McDonald's where anybody can do it and it's okay. No, you have to have a certain skill set. You have to have a certain mindset and a certain attitude to be a teacher. It's not a job you should do unless you love it. If you don't love it, you should not be a teacher. It's not a job. It's more
Actually,
it's more like being a priest or something. It's a calling. It's a calling to be a teacher.
I feel like it's when it comes to teaching, it's connecting with people on the way how you connect with people. If you are good and like you know how to connect with people, how to push them through, like you are doing, really are. I'm so lucky to have you here, because you are like our emotional support, not only about teaching, and that helps us to continue and never give up. Like for me, when I feel like difficulties, okay, so I will not do it. It's not for me and I will skip it. So I've been thinking about being a teacher. So, and you mentioned earlier about maybe materials or something. If you would share it with me, it would be helpful.
Sure. Yeah. If you need materials, yeah, send me a message and then I'll see if I can find something for you. You have to tell me a little bit more about what age you're teaching and what kind of materials you need. But these days, a lot of the materials are really just online. So, are you talking about teaching English?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, guess what? Let me start with a very simple website that you can go to that's really great. It's just called gametolearnenglish.com.
Okay.
Gametolearnenglish.com. It's a free website, and they have. I'm going to show it to you right now. I'm going to pull it up and show it to you because I love this website. I use it for all my students, and it's not. It doesn't have everything, but it has a lot. And it's games. It's fun, little, simple games to play. And they're games for kids or they're games for adults. It doesn't matter how old you are. So let me just show it to you here. Hold on.
Actually, learning with fun, it's much effective. And I believe
That's
no one
right.
is
Of course.
focused.
Yeah,
Yeah.
learning is
Oh, this
always
is
more
my
effective.
favorite. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to play this one with my daughters,
Oh,
actually.
yeah.
So they love it.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It's a great website. Look, it has vocabulary, past tense, monster phrases, body parts, prepositions, adjectives, jobs, adverbs, family, adverbs of time, anagrams, phrasal verbs, grammar. It has so much, and they're all just games. They're
Yeah.
just free games to play. You don't have to sign up for anything. You don't have to pay anything. It's amazing. You can learn a lot just from this one website.
And
Okay?
I had a problem with spelling. Will it be like a struggle for me to be a teacher? Because I also diagnosed with dyslexia.
Oh,
So,
okay.
what do you think about
No. There are many teachers who have dyslexia. I have ADHD. I have OCPD. I don't care. That doesn't matter. Your disability is not what disables you. It's the way people look at your disability that disables you, right? So what I would say is there are strategies. If you haven't learned them yet, then you need to start learning them. But there are strategies for dyslexia to learn how to kind of solve the puzzles, right? So when you see something and it looks like it's backwards, there are ways to
exactly?
see it in a way that, I recognize that I see it backwards, so that must mean it's this, right? So it's kind of weird. You have to program yourself to do the opposite of what you think, right? But it's training. You have to just train yourself. And I had to do the same thing for my own problems. So, do I think that dyslexia will prevent you from being a teacher? Absolutely not. Do I think
Either
that
ADHD.
I think that you do need to pay attention to it though. I think you need to be really aware of it. I think that you need to focus on it more. If you know it's going to be a problem, so this is where again, adversity can make you stronger. So in this case, if you know spelling is difficult for you because of your dyslexia, then that's why you should focus on spelling and your dyslexia. And then that will not become a weakness, it'll become a strength because you put so much time into it. Okay?
Okay.
Same thing is true for almost everything I do is because I'm difficult. I'm difficult, and so because I'm difficult, I had to find another way to do things. So I found my own ways to do everything, and now I just tell you what I do. That's me teaching. But it's
And that gives me lots of a major hope that you're having an ADHD, and also you're a great teacher.
yeah, disabilities don't let's put it to you this way. Here's the easiest way to put it. I'm a good teacher because I was a bad student.
Wow.
Because what I mean is because I struggled so much. I
Yes.
struggled a lot, and because I struggled, and I loved learning, but I hated this feeling of struggling that like they made me feel like I'm stupid, you know?
Yes. Easy or ununderstood. No one is understanding you.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. But then when I got out of school, I started thinking about learning more, and I started thinking about how I learn more. And then I figured out how I can learn. a way that works for me. It requires more effort than most people do. It's a bit more deep than most people do, but it works, and that's all that's important. Now, here's what happened. Because my methods were so much deeper than everybody else, they were so much more difficult, that's what made me a good teacher. Because my methods are way harder. So now, if I know that I can do it this way, then I definitely can do it the simple way. Right? So it's a matter of understanding that sometimes adversity makes you stronger. You know, if you take the time to learn from your adversity,
Yes.
you know, so that's what you have to do is just remember, almost everybody that you've ever thought of who was famous, who did something, probably had some sort of a disability. You know, uh, like people like Da Vinci, you know, when you look at somebody like that and you think, like, if you saw somebody like that today, somebody who had all these talents and was pursuing all these things, you would think, he's something. he's OCD. He's obsessive compulsive. He's something. He's not just a normal person. He's weird because he does too much, right? And when we think about people like Elon Musk or whatever, we think, oh, he's got to be something. Something's different, right? So the truth is that almost everybody that we think of as genius, they're neurodivergent. Neurodivergent is the new word we use now. It used to be that we just said, you have ADHD or you have OCD or you have this. But now we say you're neurodivergent, which means you're not broken. You just have a different brain wiring. Your wiring is different. It's not broken. It's different. Yeah.
Yeah. So can I ask you one more question, and then I give a chance to another one?
Of course.
So may I ask, when did you have the diagnosed for ADHD? When did you know about it?
Oh, a long time ago. Almost like at the beginning of when they started talking about ADHD, right? So I grew up in the 80s, and they started talking about ADHD kind of like in the late 80s, early 90s. You know, that's when they before that, they just said you're hyper. Before that, they just said you just have yeah. So here's what's so funny about it. If you want to know who has ADHD in a school, I'll tell you how you can find out. It's very simple. Go to the school and then go to the band class, right? Whatever band class they have. If they have a band class, all the drummers, they have ADHD. Because every kid that can't sit still, they give them the drums. They say, oh, he can't sit still, give him the drums. And so, yeah, I'm telling you, like, it's almost like a good way to find out who has ADHD. Go to the school and see who's playing drums. Because the band director, when they have to help the students choose instruments, it's hard to do. Like, what should this kid play? Should they play flute? Should they play trumpet? Should they play trombone? Should they play drums? What should they play? But band directors often, they just don't have that much patience. So when they have a kid who's just, okay, I'm ready, I want to play now, can I play now, can I play? They just say, oh, here's some sticks, you're a drummer. You know, like, so it's really funny, but that's true. You know, a lot of the schools around, if you want to find the kids with ADHD, they're often the kids in the band, and they play drums.
Or in the punish corner, maybe.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no.
They put them.
But, you know, again, it's so funny because I want you to think about this. Here's another way to look at your ADHD or ADHD. Sometimes we say, well, he has ADHD. He can't sit still. But here's a different way to look at it is, should you be sitting still?
I have to.
Yes, I understand, but the problem is that we have forced human beings to sit in a chair for hours and hours and hours and hours, but that's not natural. We spent thousands of years running around in the forest, and you have to remember that if you sit still, you might die. Like, if you sit still, then the lion might find you, right? Like, so you have to move around. You have to be aware all the time. So the energy of ADHD is hyper awareness. It's a
Yes.
hyper awareness of what's going on. That's not unnatural, that's natural. What's unnatural is forcing a human to sit in a chair for 7 or 8 hours of their day and not move. That's what's not natural, you know? So guess what? When I want to learn, often the best way for me to learn is when I'm moving. So sometimes if I get on a treadmill, I can read. I need something to distract my body. Movement distracts my body, which frees up my mind. So this is a trick that every drummer learns because drums is all about coordination. It's all about muscle memory and body movements. And here's the brilliant thing that happens is that when you learn how to distract your body, suddenly your mind is free. So ADHD is one of those things where if you just give them something to do, that's why they give them fidget spinners, right? The little spinner things on your hands, right? Because it gives them something to do. And now they can speak, right? So it's just the problem of sitting still. Sitting still is the problem. Not the fact that you can't sit still is not the problem. Yeah. But, you know, you have to remember that disability is always a perspective, you know. One person's disability is another person's superpower.
It depends on the way you are looking to
It
stuff.
depends on the way you look at it. It depends on the way you use it. And it depends on your relationship with your disability. So,
Wow. What do you mean with that?
because some people, they don't know they have a disability. If you don't know that you have one, then it controls you. But if you find out about it and you learn about it and then you know more about it, then you control it.
I just figured out maybe 3 years back. So for whole my life, I feel something is wrong with me. Like I believed in this is wrong. Like I am lazy. I am stupid. I am slow at learning. Like okay, I believed it. When I got to know this is like no, this is a different way. So it was like heartbroken for me. Like how come I didn't know for whole my I am 37 years now, and like for whole my life I didn't know. So it was hard.
Well, you should think of it as a blessing, not a curse. That you know now. And once you know, then you can get to know. And once you become familiar with what you're dealing with, then you can find ways to work around it. And again, like I said, I don't view my disabilities as disabilities anymore. I look at them as superpowers. The fact that my brain won't shut up is tough sometimes. I want it to shut up sometimes, but it just won't. But again, that's why I have answers for things because I've spent time thinking about things sometimes maybe that you didn't, you know, because your mind didn't force you to, you know, like, so, having a disability is more about just learning about yourself. And when you learn about yourself more, that's what I mean about having a relationship. You need to have a relationship with your disability. You need to understand it more. Don't treat it like it's a problem. Treat it like it's a different road. And you thought you were driving on this road, and that's why you're making all the wrong turns. But you're looking at the wrong map. You should be on this map, on this road, and then you'll be fine, right? So that's that's basically the way I look at it. Like Einstein. Einstein had a quote that I love. I always forget the quote. Hold on. Einstein fish quote. He said, "Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, then it will live its whole life thinking it's stupid."
True.
And that's what you're describing. You're describing the feeling of somebody telling you you're stupid when no, you're not stupid. You're just climbing the wrong tree or you're doing the wrong thing. You're not supposed to be climbing a tree. You're supposed to be doing this instead. you know? So, and again, school is a good thing and a bad thing. And one of the reasons it's a bad thing is because school makes you think that learning is supposed to be fast, like it's supposed to happen in these years and then you're done. Learning is supposed to be slow. It's supposed to happen over your entire life. The idea of school is one that we created because of economies. We created a system that we say you're going to go learn until these years and then you're going to go work. But the the idea of learning is not supposed to be something for work. It's supposed to be something for growth,
True.
right? So, we've perverted education to be something that's about making money and not about being a better you,
True.
you know?
Really. I thought it would be better for you if you are learning about all of this, like emotional intelligence or something like that. This is really useful for everyday life. I graduated from my college and now I can't remember a thing. Like I didn't have anything. Like, okay, so we need to have more practical materials. So,
Learning is something that you're supposed to do from the day you're born until the day you die. And uh, growth. Growth is supposed to be something that happens. I think this is really what's important. There are many people who do things in life and they have a distraction, like a distractibility quality, a distraction quality to them. And they're not about growth, they're just about distraction. This is why I'm not really a big fan of sports, because I find sports to be just something that's mostly a distraction in life. It doesn't actually benefit you or anyone else. It's just wasting time. It's taking up time. But that's time that you could be growing. That's time that you could be spending doing something that actually benefits you or others. Watching people play a game, and it is just a game, but we put such important value on it. In how much money do you spend to watch these games? Do you buy the shirts, and do you buy the clothes and all this stuff? And it's like, man, I don't have time for that. I'm sorry, I don't know why you do, but I don't have time for that. And it's only because for me it lacks that one quality of growth. I don't feel growth when I watch sports at all. I mean, again, if you do, that's fine. I'm not telling you that you can't. I'm saying for me, I don't find it to be an activity that encourages growth in people. I find it to be an activity that just encourages distraction. Right? The Romans, that's what the Romans used to do. That's what they called it. They called it bread and circuses. They knew that if you kept the people happy by giving them food and entertainment, that they will shut up and not say anything to anyone because they're distracted. They're just distracted, right? So again, sports to me, that's kind of the unfortunate thing is I think it's okay, but you just have to remember it's still just a game. And if you're putting too much investment in it, I would ask you to consider, is it growth material? Is it helping you grow? Or is it just something to distract you? Video games are the same way. Video games. It's possible you can learn things from video games. It's possible you can grow. But I think that 99% of people who play video games are not trying to grow or learn anything. They're only trying to distract themselves. It's a form of what we call escapism. Escapism, it means like you don't want to pay attention to life, so you find something to distract you so that you don't have to pay attention to life. Video games and sports are two really good ones for that. They're really good at distracting you. You know? Yeah.
I've been also distracting myself not to sit with myself, to know myself more. I am not sure why I'm doing this. I'm trying to run away from myself. Okay, now I know. So what can I do? What can I do about it?
Sit still. That's what you
I
can
need
do.
to.
Sit still. You know? Uh, Here's my advice is one, sit still, because sometimes you think you need to do something, but what you need to do is sit. There's a famous quote. I can't remember exactly how it goes. It's like almost all of life's problems come from our inability to sit still. And it's kind of true. When you think about it, it's kind of true. Sometimes you get in trouble because you think you need to do something. But maybe you don't need to do anything. You just need to sit and shut up, and not do anything at all, right? And then I would also tell you that one of my favorite quotes is from Rumi, the Persian poet. And he said, all of your discomfort comes from seeking... Wait, let me make sure I get the quote right. Wait a minute. Rumi comfort quote. I can't believe I forgot it. This is one of my favorite quotes. There it is. He said, come on, where is it? Oh, I know. All of your anxiety comes from seeking comfort. Seek discomfort, and you will find peace. And I love this quote because it is one of those things that makes you think that you're supposed to run away from things that scare you. But the truth is that if you want to get through that thing, you have to go through it. You can't go around it. You can't run away from it, right? So it's kind of like a tunnel in a mountain. When you see a tunnel in a mountain, it's dark and scary. And the first time you walk into a tunnel, you're like, everybody in the world, anybody in the world, the first time you walked into a tunnel when you were a child, probably, you're like, ooh, wow, this is scary. It's dark and there's a hole in this big mountain. That's scary, right? Then you start walking through it and you see the light way down at the end, and you keep walking and the light gets bigger, and you keep walking and the light gets bigger, and eventually you get to the other side. Now, the next time you see a cave or a tunnel, are you scared like you were the first time? No, because you went through it. You know there's a way to get through. You just have to go through. So that's life. Life is like that, where sometimes you are afraid to move forward because of discomfort. You're afraid to be uncomfortable, but you can't be comfortable until you go through discomfort. So you have to push yourself through life to get to the comfortable place. You have to push yourself through discomfort to get to comfort. Just like riding a bike. Nobody's comfortable riding a bike the first time. You're uncomfortable. How do you become comfortable? You do it until you are. Just like swimming, same thing. Nobody is comfortable when they first swim, but you do it until you are. It's simple when you think about simple activities, but when we think about complicated activities, we make it difficult when it's not. Yeah. So, going through the mountain, everybody, going through the tunnel, it's always scary the first time, but you gotta just push through. So my advice to you is looking at life two ways. Sometimes you just need to sit to find the answer. You just need to let the answers come to you rather than you finding them, right? And then there are other times when you have to look at the challenge like it's a way to push yourself, right? We say don't limit your challenges, challenge your limits.
Hey, can you repeat that again, please?
Don't limit your challenges. Instead, challenge your limits. Yeah, everybody's trying to look at like, oh, I don't want to do it. That's too hard. That's limiting your challenges. But instead, you could look at it like, I'm going to challenge my limits. I'm going to try to see how far I can push myself.
And I need to challenge my beliefs. Like, I believe in myself more.
That's right. Yeah. If you don't believe in yourself, who's going to believe in you? You know, it all starts with you. It all starts with you. So, Maura, it was great to talk with you, and thank you for having the courage to come on stage. And now, just like the tunnel, you did it once. Now you've been through the tunnel. Now, next time you want to raise your hand, you're not going to be so shy and scared, right?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much. God bless you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It was a pleasure. This is the part of teaching that I love. This is the part of Hello Talk that I love, you know? So, all right, well, it was a pleasure. We lost her. Maura, thank you so much for coming, and I'll see you next time. Okay, Maura? All right, let's see. We didn't really get to our last two questions, but it's already so late. So I'm going to call it, we're going to stop here now. We'll try to do the next questions maybe next time, okay? But I think today was good. We had a good discussion about change. We had a discussion about, you know, how to push yourself more and how to look at your disabilities like they're abilities, you know, not disabilities. So it was good. It was good. I hope you guys learned from it. And she did excellently, didn't she? You know, she's a perfect example that you should learn from. She said, I'm shy and I can't turn on the camera, but she did. And it was perfect. What was the problem? Why was she shy? There was no good reason for her to be shy. And there is probably no good reason for you to be shy. Okay? If there's no good reason that she needed to be shy, then there's probably no good reason for you to be shy either. All right, everybody, I need to go. But before I go, here's my website. Please go to my website and subscribe. You can find many materials to study English on my website. You can also go to my YouTube channel at afiecenglish.com. Or I'm sorry, not at .com, just at AFIEC English. And you can also go to my link tree right here. My link tree will give you everything. Okay, so if you go to my link tree, you'll find everything you need to follow me everywhere. Okay, go to that link tree, link tree, link tree, link tree. Okay, right here. All right. Okay, guys, I have to go. I will see you guys next time, okay? Have a good morning, have a good afternoon, have a good evening, wherever you live. Take care, Belen. I'll see you guys next time. Bye, Islam. Bye, Huda. Bye, everyone. I'll see you guys tomorrow, okay? Come back and see me. Bye.